Hey guys, welcome back to the Poets Video Presents Kuch Baatein, Kuch Fasaane Season 1 Episode 4. So basically this podcast has been recorded almost a month back. I wasn't able to upload it because there were lots of things going through my head and in my life. I was kind of stuck, maybe due to the negativity spreading on social media. So I thought to take a small break from everything, from social media, from things which were diverting my mind, and then I started working on myself. I started working on my mental stability. I started learning or doing things which makes my mind calm and which I always wanted to learn or do. This lockdown was kind of blessing for me. It have taught me lots of things. Like before this pandemic, I used to do things without planning or with a casual attitude, but now I started observing things. I started planning. I started working on things step by step. I started finding pros and cons in things. I started noting down things which are supposed to do or have to work on it. Coming to this podcast, it is kind of conversation between me and Aditya on his life of an author. He is a national best-selling author of his both the books. Also, he is an MBBS doctor and also got a Best Romantic Book of the Year award for his book Until Love Sets Us Apart. So, if you guys love reading, writing, or ever dreamed of writing your own novel, listen this till the end. This podcast is definitely for you. Hope you guys enjoy this podcast with Aditya Nighhot and Tejas Kariya. Hi Aditya, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. By the way, thank you so much for taking time from your busy schedule for this podcast.
No worries. बोलिए आप, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm doing good.
So hope you're safe and
Yeah, I am safe. I'm just back to my hometown.
okay, yeah.
So, how's quarantine treating you?
Yeah, see, like if you know that I'm a doctor as well. So it's actually ऐसे नहीं है कि like I'm inside the house 24/7. I do go to the hospital. So quarantine as such is not very much similar to what other people are facing. So I go to the hospital and I spend around 4 to 5 hours or maybe 8 hours in a day over there. And once I'm back, then of course you don't have any entertainment source besides, web series and watching a movie or something or reading a book maybe. That's what I'm doing at the moment.
Okay.
And I think most of the people are doing a little bit of cooking as well.
So Aditya, as you are going to hospital and you know the situation better than others, so what do you think where we are going?
See, the situation right now is very much, in the initial stage, I can see. Like, even though we've crossed 1 lakh, cases all over India, but considering our population and the population density, we are in a better situation than most of the other countries because we are the second most we have the second most largest population, and still we are better than most of the countries in spite of having a lot of high population density. So I think that we are in a good situation, and doctors and the medical staff as well as the police and other paramedical forces are doing their level best, and we are able to handle the situation efficiently. But at the same time, I think that people at their own end and should be a little bit mature and should take the care of themselves as well as the loved ones.
And what do you think about the people who were asking to let them open their shops or let them go to their offices in this current situation?
I personally believe that we've had a lockdown for more or less 60 days now. So that's 2 months, and at the same time, economy is something that we have to look into. We cannot keep each and every shop and each and every business closed because most of them, they are very much dependent on the daily wages. So somewhere something has to start, and we have these red zone, green zone and orange zone. So I think green zone people can at least take safety precautions and go to various shops and whatever they want to buy and all. But then it has to be very much gradual, and I think the government is doing it gradually. And at the same time, I believe that most of the things are available online, so we can always purchase it online. If you need something, we have various platforms like Amazon and Flipkart and whatnot. I do not need to mention, but we can order it from there. And if we have to go to some or the other shop, I believe that personal protection is necessary, and we should take the necessary protection, preventive measures as well.
Okay. So, Aditya, tell us about yourself. Like how things started.
Yeah. So since childhood, I was, I had this fascination towards reading. So I used to read Enid Blyton books and Agatha Christie. So by the time I turned 18, I decided to write a book. I thought, why not give it a try? So I wrote this book called You and Me, It's Complicated, and which I did not publish it. I just printed 500 copies from a local printer and distributed it to my friends and family members. So it was just a hobby initially.
Okay.
And once I received the good response from them, I thought ki chalo kuch alag likhte hain. Of course, I was not going to publish You and Me, It's Complicated. I wrote the other book called Until Love Sets Us Apart. So I wrote this book, and I did not know anything about traditional publishers and self-publishing companies. I just thought that, okay, writing is something which an author should know. And once you write a book, publishers are going to publish it. But eventually it so happened that I learned कि बाहर तो इतनी competition है कि it's very difficult to get a publisher. So I was rejected by almost 20-25 publishers initially. And then I decided to self-publish it yet again. So I self-published it, and I thought कि अभी distributor तो मिलेगा, चलो publisher नहीं मिला तो distributor तो मिलेगा. So I went out and I started finding distributors, and none of the distributors picked up my book, saying कि हम लोग self-published authors की book नहीं लेते. Then I thought कि चलो ये नहीं ले रहे तो चलो crossword तो लेगा. For example, crossword या Oxford ये वो. So I went there, they said कि no, you have to pay us this amount and these many percentage and all. So I said कि यार ये भी नहीं होगा. So the only option for me was Amazon. So I made my book available on Amazon, and उसके बाद then in a year I managed to sell around 2,500 copies, which is not a great number, but self-publishing books के लिए होता है. So after that, then a traditional publisher named Fingerprint called me up one day and said कि since your book is doing well and you have great Amazon reviews, we'd like to traditionally publish it. And most of you might not know this, but Fingerprint is among the top 5 publishers in India. So Fingerprint picked up this book, and later on we printed copies. They invested in the printing and all, and distribution, marketing, and then it went on to like across India in all stores and all. And so within 6 months we were able to sell 20,000 copies, and that's how it kept reaching, like doing well, and it went into the national bestsellers soon after 6 months. And then Fingerprint told me ki why not write another book or publish your previous book, You and Me, It's Complicated. So I published You and Me, It's Complicated later on, and it's been doing well.
So the journey from writing your first page to being a best-selling author, how was it?
Okay, so I had never dreamt of becoming a national best-selling author. The first thing was finding a traditional publisher, which I couldn't initially, and later on Fingerprint said that, okay, we are going to publish your book. So, I mean, not publish, republish my book. So they republished Until Love Sets Us Apart, and I never dreamt कि 20,000 copies में बेच पाऊंगा, to be honest. In 6 months for a debut book, it's a huge number, and I managed to do that. And by the end of 3rd month, I knew कि मेरी book bestseller बन गई. So that was something which every author dreams of achieving. तो ये कुछ अच्छी थी, first feeling थी, and I had never expected it. So it was I was very happy कि यार बेची है हमने, इतने सारे copies बेचे हैं, इतने हर एक जगह पे the book is stacked in the national bestsellers list. So it was a special feeling. And from that time, then एक award हुआ था जिसमें there was it is a Reader's Choice Award. People voted for the Best Romantic Book of the Year award, and thankfully I won it. So another, the cherry on the cake, I can say.
Okay, so what inspires you to write romance?
So I, as I told you that I always wanted to write something. When I turned 18, I wanted to write something. So ये था कि now that I'm in school, I was in the early junior college days, and then I was going into my first year of MBBS. So I thought कि why take a risk by writing something which I don't know? For example, writing a crime book for something which I don't know because I haven't experienced it firsthand. Life, or maybe you can just see what's going on in your college and all. So I thought कि ये जो topic है कि romantic books लिखना is something which is very much relevant to the young society. People can connect to the emotions, and it is something that I can find around me. So that's what I thought of, and मैंने बोला कि चलो लिखते हैं, romance book लिखते हैं पहले. तो romantic लिखी, and now I have also written a short story which is a crime thriller, and there are 2 more books which are yet to be published, which are again crime fictions.
Okay.
So I'm trying each and every genre, but to begin with I started with romance.
Okay, so here we can expect your next book is crime genre.
No. My next book is again a romance fiction.
Okay.
Yeah, but I have a couple of deals going on with other publishers, so thankfully हो जाएगा, hopefully हो जाएगा, but कब होगा I cannot tell, maybe after a year or so.
Okay, so I read a article on your first book which says the story is based on a real life. So can you tell us the story behind it?
Okay, so if you're talking about Until Love Sets Us Apart, which is my first book, so उसमें ऐसे है कि I like to tell the listen, I like to elaborate a bit on it कि for the listeners. तो ये है कि उसमें एक है कि एक आदमी है जिसको पकड़ा जाता है, जो पकड़ा जाता है for 4 murders.
Okay.
और बाद में पता चलता है कि वो एक MBBS स्टूडेंट है. So this actually happened because I was seeing this headlines on a news channel कि एक MBBS आदमी को पकड़ा गया. So after that I went into the research process. I've mentioned a little bit in the book as well, but to be honest, it is 70% real and 30% fictional.
Okay.
So तो ऐसे है. So it's inspired from a thing. अंदर की जो सीन्स है वो मैंने खुद बनाए हैं कुछ फॉर द एंटरटेनमेंट पर्पस ऑफ कोर्स. तो ये है कि देन आई वेंट इनटू द रिसर्च प्रोसेस एंड आई फाउंड आउट कि क्या हुआ था उसके साथ. And then I said कि yes, it has a very good social message which I need to convey to people. So that's what I wrote in my book Until Love Sets Us Apart.
Okay, so being a doctor and an author, these both are very tough responsibilities in my views, because you have to take care of your patients as well as your readers. So how do you manage both the things?
See, while I started writing, I wrote in my college days. So at that time I never thought of publishing a book. तभी मैंने लिखना चालू किया and I wrote 5-6 stories together. So तभी मेरे पास time था. Now to be honest, I don't get time. अभी जो मेरी राइटिंग प्रोसेस है, आई एम अ वेरी फास्ट राइटर. सो अगर मेरे दिमाग में कोई भी एक प्लॉट आता है तो आई राइट विद इन 20 to 25 days. पूरी बुक मैं 20 to 25 days में खत्म कर देता हूँ. सो आई शुड गेट दिस 20 days का एक स्पैन. अब ये मुझे कभी मे बी दिवाली वेकेशन और मे बी क्रिसमस वेकेशन है या कोई भी बीच में 20 दिन का अगर मेरे को गैप मिल गया तो देन आई कैन राइट. सो आई फाइंड टाइम, ऐसे बीच में जो भी मेरे को टाइम मिलता है उसमें मैं लिखता हूँ. अर्लियर इट यूज्ड टू बी लाइक डेली लिखना, बिकॉज तभी कॉलेज लाइफ था तो आई यूज्ड टू गेट टाइम आफ्टर कॉलेज, बट अभी नहीं मिलता. सो आई नीड दिस 20-25 days बीच के एंड आई राइट देयर. Most of the authors find it difficult to complete the entire story in 20-25 days, but I am a fast writer. I write 2,000 to 3,000 words a day. So लगभग 50,000 25 days में हो जाता है.
Okay, so what do you think? What is more difficult, being a doctor or an author?
Actually, both are difficult because you see, getting into medical curriculum, लाखों बच्चे एग्जाम के लिए बैठते हैं but only 20 या 10,000 people get selected, and out of these 10,000 to 20,000 only I believe 5,000 people might be entering into PG courses of in the government colleges. It's very difficult. And when it comes to writing a book, of course writing a book is very easy. I believe anybody can write it, but publishing it is difficult.
Okay.
So self publish karo ya traditional publish karo. Self publish karo to you should have a very good financial support because you need to not only print. लोगों को लगता है कि यार चलो print कर लिया मतलब काम हो गया. You need to distribute it, you need to market it. So you need ample of budgets for it. So self publishing में ये, self publishing में you are the sole, I can say you are the only person who's responsible for the whatever you say कि उसका hit होना या flop होना book का, you are responsible for it. But when it comes to traditional publishers, तो आपके पास एक team होती है, dedicated team है जो who look into distribution and marketing as well. So your workload gets reduced, but at the same time getting into traditional publishers is difficult. तो उसमें कैसे कि हजारों लोग submissions भेजते हैं. I've discussed this with my editor as well, the commissioning editor, one of the commissioning editors of a leading publishing house. She said that हमारे पास महीने में हजारों आते हैं submissions. In a year we get 20-25,000 submissions, but we can hardly publish 10 to 20 books in a year. तो you can see कि 20,000 submissions में से सिर्फ 10-20 लोगों को चांस मिलता है. And among these 10-20 people there are जो पब्लिश हो रहे हैं उसमें से 5 to 10 people वो है जो earlier publish हो चुके हैं, best selling authors and all who are revived by the leading publishing houses. So अगर आपको entry भी मिल गई इन 10 लोगों में तो भी अगर आपकी first book अच्छी करेगी तो ही second book आएगी. नहीं करेगी तो then that's the end of your writing journey. So it's difficult, it's very difficult to even become an author. और author बन गए तो that's not the end. Best selling बनना जरूरी है. Then only you get your next opportunity.
Okay, so अगर best selling नहीं मिला तो you have to face the rejections again.
You face rejections, yeah.
As you said, you self-publish your first book. So how did you manage promotions of your book and your clinic?
See, I self-published it, but later on this got republished traditionally. तो जो भी मैंने success achieve किया है, that I've achieved after it got republished traditionally.
Okay.
Self-published में जितना भी किया है, उसमें मैंने सिर्फ 2,000 copies बेचे. And within a year. And when it got republished traditionally, fingerprint के through, तो मैंने 6 महीने में लगभग 20,000 बेचे. So you can see the ratio कितना change हो गया. The reason behind this is कि self-published books को आपको book stores नहीं मिलते. You can all over India आपके पास audience है, reading audience है, but the only medium to reach out to this audience is through social media. For a self-published book. Self-published book में क्या है कि आपने book को Amazon पे डाल दिया, लिंक को शेयर कर लिया, जितने भी लोग खरीदेंगे. बट फॉर अ ट्रेडिशनल पब्लिश्ड ऑथर जो भी टॉप 5 पब्लिशर्स में से है फिंगरप्रिंट, तो उसमें ये होता है कि ऑल ओवर इंडिया बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूट होती है. एंड सेल्फ पब्लिश्ड ऑथर क्या है कि ज्यादा से ज्यादा 1,000-2,000 कॉपीज प्रिंट कर सकता है इनिशियली इन्वेस्टमेंट, क्योंकि आई बिलीव कि 1,000 पर बुक कॉस्ट आती है प्रिंटिंग 50 to 60 rupees. So for a newcomer author, it is very difficult to generate that economy for printing, distribution, and as well as marketing, the finance. But जो बड़ी कंपनी होती है वो सीधा 10,000 एक लॉट में प्रिंट करती है. So when you have 10,000 copies printed, वो अपने गोडाउन में तो नहीं रखेंगे. Of course, they're going to distribute it to the large chains, bookstores and all. So एक बार bookstores में चली गई, people see the book, visible है, कोई रास्ते से जा रहा है, देखता है, ट्रैवल करना है कहीं पे, खरीद लेता है. So that's how initially it begins. So workload थोड़ा कम हो जाता है when it comes to traditional publisher, but at the same time you need to make it a bestseller if you want to be retained by the publisher.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there are many people who want to write. They have their whole story prepared in their mind, but once they start writing, they go totally blank. So, has this kind of situation happened with you, or how did you deal with that?
no, to be honest, I haven't dealt with something called as writer's block. तो वो है कि because I have my entire plot ready beforehand and I write very systematically कि I've heard this from many of the authors कि वो लोग लिखते हैं जैसे उनकी plot दिमाग में आता है, they start writing the first page, second page, third page करते करते last page तक लिखते हैं. My journey is a little bit different. मैं जब प्लॉट लिखता हूँ पहले मैं 1 पेज में लिखता हूँ. सो 1 पेज में मेरे स्टार्ट, मिडल एंड एंड ये होता है पूरे 1 पेज में. देन आई गो इनटू द कैरेक्टराइजेशन कि मेरे अगर 4 कैरेक्टर्स है तो 4 कैरेक्टर्स के बिहेवियर कैसे होने चाहिए, क्या उसका अलग एक पन्ना बनता है. देन आई डिसाइड कि अब मेरे को सब प्लॉट क्या लिखना है. जो मेन प्लॉट तो हो गया एक पन्ने में, सब प्लॉट थर्ड पन्ने पे आता है. एंड वंस आई हैव डन दिस देन आई थिंक कि अभी इसको चैप्टर्स में डिवाइड करना है. सो मैं सोचता हूँ कि अरे चलो 50,000 वर्ड्स अगर मेरे को लिखना है तो देन आई नीड एटलीस्ट 10 चैप्टर्स ऑफ 5,000 वर्ड्स. देन आई राइट दोज पॉइंटर्स कि चैप्टर ए में, चैप्टर 1 में फॉर एग्जाम्पल कैरेक्टर ए मेट बी एंड देन बी मेट सी. तो ये एक एक लाइन में लिखता हूँ, इसके कुछ अलग 2-3 पन्ने बनते हैं. वंस आई हैव दिस रेडी आई नो कि मेरी स्टार्ट क्या होने वाली है, मिडल क्या होने वाला है, एंड क्या होने वाला है. देन आई नीड जस्ट 20 days और 25 days एंड देन आई स्टार्ट राइटिंग. तो एक बार लिखना चालू किया देन वो एंड नहीं होता बिकॉज आई हैव माई स्टोरी रेडी, प्लॉट रेडी एंड मेरा माइंड क्लियर है. सो that's what helps me.
Okay, so what makes you stable? Like, what makes your mind stable to write?
I think listening to songs and being in my own comfort zone. Most of the times I travel and I when I'm in a restaurant or maybe a hotel or maybe to a new place on a vacation, I write. So because वहाँ पे मुझे peace लगता है, कुछ अलग लगता है, तो I write there. And ऐसे ही होता है कि वेकेशन में I write mostly.
Okay, so as we are all stuck at home and dealing with this pandemic, and most of the time we spend on social media, and some people doing something they always wanted to do. I mean, they are exploring themselves. So what are you doing to make yourself more creative?
At the moment, I've started something new. Like I'm making motivational videos. So अभी घर बैठ के मतलब जितना भी टाइम मिलता है घर पे, उसमें I'm seeing कि I think कि मुझे motivational videos बनानी चाहिए. So I take a question from the audience itself. कोई मुझे मैसेज करता है इंस्टाग्राम पे, I regularly check the inbox messages that I get, and अगर मिलता है तो then I make a video on it and I post it on Instagram and YouTube. So actually I don't want to earn anything from this or something, but it is just new creativity or something you can say. And in between I wrote a short story called Catch Me If You Can, which I released on Kindle. So एक शॉर्ट स्टोरी है पॉकेट बुक की तरह एंड आई रिलीज्ड इट ऑन किंडल बिकॉज लॉकडाउन में आई बिलीव कि यार किसी को पढ़ने के लिए कुछ तो चाहिए नया. So that's what I did in this lockdown.
So there are many platforms where we can post our stories, like Wattpad. So is it safe over there?
See, according to the if you mean about the copyrights and all, so according to the Indian law, it is that अगर आप कोई भी स्टोरी कहीं पे भी पब्लिश करते हो एंड इफ यू आर द फर्स्ट पर्सन, इट इज कंसिडर्ड टू बी योर ओन वर्क, बट यू नीड सम डॉक्यूमेंटेशन फॉर इट. सो डॉक्यूमेंटेशन है कि आपके पास उसका कोई स्क्रीनशॉट होना चाहिए डेट के साथ, टाइम के साथ, आपने कब डाला, या ईमेल होना चाहिए. तो दैट इज योर ओन क्रिएशन. या फिर आपके पास वर्ड फाइल होनी चाहिए क्रिएटेड, जो पहले दिन आपने क्रिएट करी थी. अच्छा, उसका डेट होना चाहिए. सो दैट इज गोइंग टू प्रोटेक्ट यू फ्रॉम दिस. बट सबसे सेफेस्ट वे ये है कि आप दिल्ली ऑफिस में आपकी सबमिशन करिए एंड गेट अ स्टैम्प ऑन योर वर्क, द ऑफिशियल स्टैम्प ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट अप्रूव्ड बॉडी व्हिच गिव्स यू द कॉपीराइट स्टैम्प.
So there are many stories on social media in a written form, and then people make a video over it with minimal changes, and no one claims the copyright issue. So what do you think about it?
See, minimal changes तो ऐसे कि I believe कि उसको कोई रोक नहीं सकता. इवन इफ यू हैव अ कॉपीराइट स्टैम्प ऑन योर वर्क, तो भी वो बदल नहीं सकते तुम लोग. इट्स वेरी मच क्या कहते हैं, लूप होल है ये कॉपीराइट सिस्टम का, आई कैन से, कि अगर आप एक ही चीज, वो प्लॉट उठाते हो और अगर आपके खुद के वर्ड्स में आप उसको लिखते हो विथ अ फ्यू चेंजेस, नो वन कैन चैलेंज यू. दैट्स अ लूप होल. एंड टू बी ऑनेस्ट ये है, एंड वी कैन नॉट डू एनीथिंग अबाउट इट. क्योंकि बीट पोएम्स और बीट शॉर्ट स्टोरी या बड़ी स्टोरी, उसके अगर आप थोड़ा चेंजेस करते हो तो वो कॉपीराइट ऑफिस भी कुछ नहीं कर सकता उसमें. सो दैट आई थिंक इट्स शेयर लक, बैड लक आई कैन से, बिकॉज ओवरऑल ये है कि हमने ये देखा है कि दिस हैपेंस इन इवन इन द फिल्म इंडस्ट्री, बिकॉज आई एम अ पार्ट ऑफ द स्क्रीन राइटर्स एसोसिएशन. तो स्क्रीन राइटर्स एसोसिएशन में ये बातें बोली जाती है कि क्या होता है, कैसे स्क्रिप्ट किसी की चुराई गई है. तो मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम्स द स्क्रीन राइटर्स एसोसिएशन आल्सो हेल्प राइटर्स. तो अगर ऑथर या राइटर चाहता है कि कोई उसके हेल्प करे, so they should also get affiliated with the Screenwriters Association. So Screenwriters Association का मेंबर बनना चाहिए, so that your script is also protected from by a community of screenwriters. वहां से भी आपको एक स्टैंप मिल जाता है, रजिस्ट्रेशन हो जाती है कि आपकी ये स्टोरी है. तो देयर आर टू थिंग्स, एक है दिल्ली कॉपीराइट ऑफिस एंड दूसरा है स्क्रीन राइटर्स एसोसिएशन.
Okay, so nowadays there are many posts on social media which says this is a pandemic, not a creativity contest, so don't show off your creativity over here. So what's your views on it?
सी अभी क्या है, लॉकडाउन है, क्या कर सकते हैं लोग. लाइक you cannot be in front of your TV or your book, reading a book 24/7. People of course want to try something new, so posting something, I find it very much weird कि posting something is creating a problem to somebody. Of course अगर आप किसी कहते हैं ना, जो it's related to corona maybe, और कुछ गलत इन्फॉर्मेशन है और आप पोस्ट करो, तो of course it is bad. वो नहीं करना चाहिए. बट इफ इट इज समथिंग रिलेटेड टू योर ओन क्रिएटिविटी, मेड बी अ डांस वीडियो या कुछ आपने खाना बनाया या कुछ मोटिवेशनल स्पीच है, तो ऑफकोर्स यू कैन शेयर इट. इसका और कोरोना से आई थिंक कोई रिलेशन है नहीं, एंड इसका और लॉकडाउन से भी नहीं है. इफ द लॉकडाउन वुड हैव एंडेड टुडे, फॉर एग्जाम्पल आज खत्म हो गया लॉकडाउन, तो भी अगर इसके बाद कोई पोस्ट करता है तो इट्स कंसिडर्ड एज हिज ओन क्रिएशन, his own creativity. उसका अकाउंट है सोशल मीडिया, he can do whatever he wants to, provided वो publicly correct on moral grounds कि वो correct है.
And most important question is that what lockdown taught you about yourself?
About myself ये है कि हमारे पास कितना टाइम होता है, and we hardly utilize it. We get so much क्या कहते हैं, रूटीन में इतना बिजी हो जाता है. दिस लॉकडाउन टॉट मी कि हमारे पास 24 घंटे होते हैं, हम लोग उसका अच्छे से यूटिलाइज कर सकते हैं टाइम को, एंड वी कैन लर्न न्यू थिंग्स, एंड एट द सेम टाइम वी कैन ब्रिंग समथिंग न्यू विच कैन बी अवेलेबल टू द पब्लिक. जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल क्रिएशन, कोई नई क्रिएटिविटी, सो वो हम लोग लॉकडाउन में कर सकते हैं, एंड आई थिंक दैट्स व्हाट लॉकडाउन हैज टॉट मी.
Okay, so I think this question is little bit inappropriate as books are author's child, but still I want to ask you, until love sets us apart and you and me it's complicated, which is your own personal favorite book and why?
See, as you answered the question yourself कि ऐसे है कि कोई भी पेरेंट दो चाइल्ड के बीच में बता नहीं सकता कि कौन सा ज्यादा क्या कहते हैं फेवरेट है, कौन नहीं है. सेम वे इट्स डिफिकल्ट फॉर मी, बट इफ यू आस्क मी द मोस्ट एक्साइटिंग बुक दैट आई कुड राइट, देन इट इज अंटिल लव सेट्स अस अपार्ट. बिकॉज एक्साइटिंग इसलिए बिकॉज इट इन्वॉल्व अ लॉट ऑफ रिसर्च. सो आपसे वो ज्यादा मुझे एक्साइटिंग लगती है, एंड आई एम ऑल्सो प्लानिंग टू कम अप विद अ सीक्वल फॉर दिस बुक, बिकॉज उसमें बहुत रिसर्च वर्क था, उसमें क्रिएटिविटी भी थी, एंड एट द सेम टाइम इट वाज नॉट जस्ट अ रोमांस बुक, इट वाज रोमांस प्लस थ्रिलर.
Okay.
सो दो जॉनर्स को मिक्स करके लिखना वो समथिंग न्यू and something challenging for me. तो वो ज़्यादा थोड़ा सा exciting था journey.
Okay, so being an author, what will you suggest to the budding writers? What should they read or study on? Like foreign authors or Indian authors?
Yeah. So I've heard many people say कि this myth कि international authors बहुत अच्छे लिखते हैं, Indian authors खराब लिखते हैं. I've heard this from many people. So the thing is कि international authors वही है जो आप मतलब जो पढ़ रहे हो वो वही लोग हैं जो आप तक पहुंच रहे हैं. If you see international authors, maybe I can give you thousands of authors names जिनके बुक में इतने ग्रामेटिकल एरर्स है कि इतना इंडियन ऑथर भी ना कर पाए. बट जो इंडिया में आते हैं जो किताब वो वही आते हैं जो वर्ल्ड वाइड हिट हुए हैं. ओनली दोज ऑथर्स रीच इंडिया. सो आई बिलीव कि वो सिर्फ आप टॉप लेयर्स में से है, जो टॉप 10 टॉप 20 ऑथर्स है उनको आप बाकी ऑथर्स इंडियन ऑथर्स के साथ कंपेयर कर रहे हो. आई बिलीव कि दिस इज वेरी अनफेयर. आप कोई भी बुक पढ़िए, इंटरनेशनल पढ़िए, इंडियन पढ़िए, द प्लॉट शुड बी यूनिक, द कंटेंट शुड बी यूनिक. एंड आई थिंक कि इंडियन ऑथर्स का, नॉट बिकॉज आई एम एन इंडियन, बट I have also read international authors and I have read Indian authors as well. So Indian authors I think ज़्यादा connect करते.
Yeah, because they use regional English and people can connect with them easily.
They connect for two reasons, because एक तो regional आपने जैसे बोला है and simple English, and second thing is कि वो जो भी लिखते हैं which is very much relevant to Indian society. कि हमारे आसपास जो हो रहा है वही लिखते हैं. सो आई बिलीव कि इट्स सेम. आप इंडियन पढ़िए, इंटरनेशनल पढ़िए, बट डोंट से कि इंटरनेशनल ज्यादा अच्छा है या इंडियन ज्यादा अच्छे हैं. सब लोग अच्छे हैं अपने आप, मतलब अपने क्या कहते हैं किताब के लिए वो अच्छे हैं जो भी उन्होंने क्रिएशन करा है. नाउ द मैसेज आई वांट टू गिव टू बडिंग ऑथर्स इज दैट इफ यू राइट अ बुक, सो बिलीव इन इट. कि बाकी लोग, बहुत ऑथर्स को मैंने ऐसे देखा है कि वो बुक लिखते हैं और बोलते हैं कि ये चलेगी या नहीं चलेगी, आई डोंट नो, आई डोंट हैव कॉन्फिडेंस. तो आपके पास अगर कॉन्फिडेंस है नहीं तो फिर आप क्यों लिख रहे हो? इफ यू हैव रिटन देन यू शुड हैव फुल फेथ इन इट कि नहीं मैंने लिखी है, आई बिलीव इन इट, एंड चाहे कोई पब्लिशर मेरे को रिजेक्ट करे ना करे, आई बिलीव इन माई स्टोरी एंड आई थिंक कि ये मैंने जो लिखा है ये बेस्ट लिखा है. इफ यू बिलीव इन योर स्टोरी एंड इफ द पब्लिशर रिजेक्ट्स यू, no worries, you always have the self publishing route. और most of the times ऐसे ही होता है कि डेब्यू ऑथर को ये पब्लिशर्स नहीं लेते, बिकॉज ऑफ कोर्स कंपटीशन बहुत ज्यादा है. हर एक स्टोरी वो नहीं पढ़ सकते. एज आई सेड कि 20,000 स्क्रिप्ट्स जाते हैं वहां पे और उसमें से 10-20 ही सिलेक्ट होते हैं. दे कैन नॉट रीड सो मेनी स्टोरीज एंड स्क्रिप्ट्स.
So how they select the story, select the script?
See, some depends on your luck as well. अगर आपके पास थोड़ा लिटरेरी एजेंट है तो एक अच्छी बात है कि लिटरेरी एजेंट के ईमेल्स खोलते हैं वो लोग, पहले खोलते हैं. एंड थर्ड थिंग इज कि अगर आप जो सैंपल चैप्टर्स भेजते हैं, इफ इट्स नॉट क्रिस्प तो वो नहीं होगा. जो आप पहले वो बोलते कि आप हमको 3 सैंपल चैप्टर्स भेजिए, सेंड योर ऑथर बायो एंड अलोंग विद इट सेंड दी 1 पेजर ब्लर्ब या सिनॉप्सिस. ठीक है, तो वो जो पहले देखते हैं वो पहले आपको सिनॉप्सिस देखते हैं. अगर आई हैव सीन मेनी ऑफ द ऑथर्स मेकिंग अ मिस्टेक कि पहले 2-3 लाइंस में इतने ग्रामेटिकल एरर्स होते हैं इन द सिनॉप्सिस इटसेल्फ कि वो लोग सैंपल चैप्टर्स खोलते ही नहीं है.
ओके,
सो यू नीड टू एक्चुअली गेट इट एडिटेड. काफी ऑथर्स का ये कहना, दे थिंक कि एडिटर तो बाद में मिल जाएगा पब्लिशर के साइड से, पहले क्यों लेना. बट एटलीस्ट फॉर द सैंपल चैप्टर्स यू नीड टू गिव दैट अटेंशन to the script, because that's what is going to create an impression. तो पहले आप एडिट करिए उसको, चाहे आपका दोस्त हो या चाहे आप प्रोफेशनल एडिटर ले ले, that's up to the author. बट वो एडिट करिए ठीक से, send it to the publisher. If they like the synopsis, of course they're going to read the sample chapters and the way you write, way the author writes. तो ये है. So once they are impressed with it, they'll call you for the entire, they'll ask you for the entire manuscript, and once it's done then they'll send the deal, a contract deal, if they like it.
Okay, if you could turn back the time and meet your 16-year-old self, the time before you started writing, what would you tell him?
I will tell कि I should have been a little more more prepared, I can say. कि मुझे पता ही नहीं था कि what are self publishing companies and what are traditional publishing companies, marketing क्या होता है, distribution क्या होता है. I knew nothing. I wrote and then I found out कि इसमें इतने सारा competition है, so I should have been a little more prepared. कि पहले research करना चाहिए था and then I should have stepped into this industry. But anyways, अभी बाद में सीख लिया मैंने. And the book got republished. But हर एक को ऐसे मौका नहीं मिलेगा जैसे मेरे को मिला है कि republishing का offer publisher से ही आ गया. Before I could send, of course they had turned it down earlier, but बाद में आ गया once they saw the success of the book. तो हर एक को ऐसे opportunity नहीं मिलेगी. I was lucky enough कि मुझे ये opportunity मिली, second chance मिला. बाकियों को नहीं मिल सकता. So I think कि research करके पूरा research होने के बाद ही they should send it to a publisher.
If we send our story to any publisher or editor, is it safe? What if they stole it?
Leading publishers ऐसे नहीं करेंगे because they have a name जो बहुत बड़ा है और उनके पास authors की कमी नहीं है. So वो लोग चुराने का कोई मैटर ही नहीं होता, ऐसे इशू नहीं होता है. So they usually don't do this and they have a name to keep. कल को author can sue them for whatever they have done. So this can happen at the personal level. Personal level as in आपने किसी दूसरे आदमी को भेज दिया कि थर्ड पर्सन को पहले पढ़ने के लिए भेज दिया, ठीक है, एंड ही कैन टेक अनड्यू एडवांटेज ऑफ इट. ये हो सकता है. और इट कैन हैपन दैट पब्लिशर की ईमेल आईडी, ऑफिशियल ईमेल आईडी पे आपने नहीं भेजा, किसी उसी के पब्लिशिंग इंडस्ट्री के किसी थर्ड पर्सन को भेज दिया, जो कुड बी एन एडिटर हो, कोई काम करने वाला वहां पे आदमी हो, कोई भी हो. तो अगर उसके ऑफिशियल ईमेल आईडी पे आपने नहीं भेजा, किसी और ईमेल आईडी पे भेजा, देन दे कैन टेक अनड्यू एडवांटेज ऑफ इट. यू नेवर नो. सो जो ऑफिशियल ईमेल आईडी है उस पे ही भेजना चाहिए एंड you shouldn't send it to multiple people before getting it copyrighted.
So what is your end goal when you think you conquer the world?
I think end goal ऐसे कुछ होगा नहीं, because by the time I can say कि क्या है कि if I'm selling say thousands of copies today, by the end of this year I might sell lakhs. And maybe 2 years down the line I can sell crores of copies. But वो expectations होती है कि of course crores के ऊपर जाना है, because वो होता है कि end कुछ नहीं है. Because even the publisher expects more from your next book. अगर मैंने अभी 1000 copies बेचा है तो मेरा publisher बोलेगा ये तुम्हारा benchmark है. 1000 की तो मतलब 1000, अगर मैंने 50,000 copies बेचे तो 50,000 is my benchmark. From the next title I don't have to sell below 50,000. I have to sell above 50,000. तो 1 लाख होता है. तो अगर ऐसे मैं करोड़ों बेचूं और कल को मैं एक हाथ किताब में लाखों बेचूं तो दैट्स फेलियर फॉर मी. तो ऐसे एंड गोल नहीं है. कुछ एंड गोल नहीं है. तो इट्स जस्ट बीइंग देयर, हैंगिंग देयर एंड लिविंग द लाइफ टू द फुलेस्ट.
So would you like to share us about your upcoming novel?
Okay, upcoming novel, अभी upcoming novel के लिए थोड़ा टाइम है.
Okay.
So because the thing is अभी lockdown है and all, so we are very much uncertain when my next book will release. But mostly I can say कि Jan में होगी, coming Jan या December. थोड़ा सा तो it's a romance fiction. It's a story about a filmmaker and a writer. Okay. And it's about two opposite people from the upper class and the middle class people. The director is very much from the film fraternity and the writer is a struggling writer.
Okay.
So उनके बीच में there's a romantic plot and the title is something, I think it's a middle age story, not a young adult or a college going story. So it can many people can connect to it, not only the young but as the middle age people as well.
So Aditya, this session was wonderful. It was my pleasure to talk to you. But at last, is there any message you want to give to our audience on this pandemic?
Okay, I'll just like to say that since I'm a doctor, that I'd like to say that all of you please stay in while we are battling with the pandemic, while we are outside. So please stay in while we stay out. That's what I like to say, and I like to say that please protective measures use करिए, preventive measures use करिए, and be safe, stay home, take care of your loved and dear ones. Yeah.
And as an author?
As an author, I would say that utilize this time to the fullest. आपके पास जो भी creativity है, उसको use करिए. And if you do not want to achieve anything in the creative field, so of course you have a lot of books to read and a lot of films that you might not have watched. So use this time. किसी और की creativity maybe can inspire you to write something or to direct a film maybe in future.
Okay, so Aditya, thank you so much for your precious time.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you.